I really want to eat something.
Yes.
They're not letting me eat.
I know.
And then 3 rounds of that sugary, crappy drink.
Oh, it's terrible. Tried doing it 3 times. It's terrible. So I made a few changes and everything, but then after a few weeks of going through the numbers, it just everything that I was trying to change, it just wasn't enough. I ended up having to be put on insulin. As soon as you give birth, and then it's like, and then they come to ask you like, oh, we gotta check your sugar, and I'm just like, what? Why? What do you mean? It's like I completely forgot I had gestational diabetes for like 2 months. But they also had gestational, and I was able to give them the answers that they were looking for that they couldn't find online, or that they would be misleading.
Hey mamas, welcome back. Here we have Kayla in our studio. Thank you so much for coming back, Kayla.
Of course.
For those of you who don't know about Kayla's story, you must visit our previous episode, which was all about baby blues and PPD and how Kayla dealt with her PPD. I'm sure you're going to be very inspired and you will feel very motivated to see the whole episode. Today, we are talking about gestational diabetes, and that's also from Kayla's personal experience.
Yes.
I'm sure you have a lot of insights,
Yeah.
same like the last episode.
Yeah.
So, just on to you now.
All right. So I got diagnosed with gestational diabetes. So I went for the 24 to 28 week when we get checked
When
for
we do that.
gestationals, the regular.
Yeah.
Every pregnant woman goes through it. So I had gone and did the gross drink, that terrible drink that I just still can taste in my mouth somehow.
Me too.
Oh, it's terrible. Tried doing it 3 times. It's terrible. So that drink, took that, did the test, whatever, and then I waited for my results, and I failed the first one. However, the doctor was like, a lot of women, like 75% of women, fail the first test.
Yeah.
So don't think anything of it. Just go for the second test. The second test is a little more intense. I don't remember if we had to fast for the first one. Do you remember? Was it a fast?
First one, no.
No, right? Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Because the
no.
first one, no, it wasn't a fast. It was just go, show up, take.
It's the
do
second
drink.
time when we do 3.
The second time,
That's
yes.
the fasting.
That's the one where I had to fast
Terrible.
for 12 hours. Imagine fasting while pregnant.
Oh my God. I did that, I know.
Yeah,
Oh
not
gosh.
great.
Not great.
So I had to do the fasting, went in, they took my blood, had to drink the drink again, but that time it was a little bit bigger than the first one. Drank that, waited an hour, then they took my blood again, and then I got to leave. It was fine. But it was like a 2.5 hour ordeal of just waiting there in the waiting room. Couldn't eat anything, couldn't drink water, couldn't do anything, and just had that taste in your mouth. Terrible.
I
Anyways.
remember I was starving on top of that.
Yes, right? And then you have that taste and you're like, I feel like I need to eat something.
like
'Cause I'm
savory.
I'm so hungry, but then it's like, oh, I can't eat anything. And now I have this weird taste in my mouth. Yeah, so that was fun. And then I ended up failing the second one as well. So I got diagnosed with gestational diabetes. My numbers were pretty high, so they were like, yeah, you definitely have it. Like, you're not on the cusp. Like, you're 100%. So I had gone, I had to talk to a dietitian about, like, different things I could change in my diet. We went over what I eat on a regular basis. And then trying to figure out, like, okay, what could we change? What can we incorporate into my diet?
Before we talk about the diet, Kayla, do you remember if there were any symptoms or indicators before you got diagnosed? Anything like, or maybe any risk factors that might have resulted in you having gestational diabetes?
So gestational diabetes is a hereditary thing. So if your mother had it, you're most likely to have it. However, that's not always the case. Like for me, so my mom did have it with all 4 of like my siblings, like me and my siblings.
Oh.
She just didn't get diagnosed when she was pregnant with my older sister. She had no idea, but there was a lot of weight gain. which was a factor for her. But back in the 90s, they didn't really check for that kind of thing, right? But then once she was pregnant with, I believe, me or my younger sister, I can't remember who, is when she found out that she had gestational diabetes, and the doctor was like, did you not get checked the first time? And she's like, no, I didn't. So then obviously she figured it out, like, oh, that's why I was gaining so much weight, because that is something that will happen if you do have gestational. You do gain a lot more weight. That's just because your body's not producing the insulin to break down the sugars and everything. For me, I felt like it was more, I felt sluggish, very like a lot more tired than usual. And it was always after I ate.
Okay.
It was always right after I ate. I always felt like, oh, like I just want to lay down. I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, like tiredness, pretty much all times.
but like worse.
Worse than the regular one.
Yeah, worse than regular tired. It was like I just felt groggy.
Like pregnancy is being tired all the time. But
yes.
You mean this is more?
But it was like more than that. It was just like, oh, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It just felt like that.
Yeah.
You know, so that was definitely a sign. But I just thought it was just my pregnancy. Like I'm just tired. I'm pregnant. I'm like halfway there. I'm exhausted. You know, but no, it was not. Surprise. So that was like one of the indicators that I noticed that that probably, now thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that definitely makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Like once I was diagnosed, I was like, oh, that makes sense. That checks out. So yeah, but again, gestational is definitely one of those things that's a hereditary, it's passed down. However, again, every pregnancy is different. We've talked about this before. Every pregnancy is different. So I got it, my mom had it, but my older sister didn't have it when she was pregnant with all 3 of her kids.
Okay. Yeah.
So it just depends.
Not necessarily, yeah.
No, and doesn't necessarily, like you might not, like your mother might have it, but you might not get it. So like, for example, I had it, but let's say down the line when Elizabeth has a baby, if she wants to have a baby one day, she may or may not get gestational, right? So you never know, because again, every pregnancy is different. But that is definitely a higher risk of getting gestational if your mother had it when she was pregnant with you. So in my case, yes, my chances were pretty high.
For me, my mom never had it. My sister did not have it, and for me, I did the first test, right?
Yes.
And they were not sure. They said, we are not sure right now. You should go for another one, which is the fasting.
Okay, yes.
So I know how terrible that is.
Yes.
The sugary drink.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I was so hungry. I remember I kept on texting my husband like, oh my, I really want to eat something.
Yes.
They're not letting me eat.
I know.
And then 3 rounds of that sugary, crappy drink. So I remember,
bad,
but yeah, thankfully I did not have it. But then could be because my mom did not have it.
Could be, or just maybe your body was like, no, we're good. We'll produce the insulin that you need. So, which is, I mean, for me, when I got diagnosed with it, I will be honest, I was a little embarrassed. I didn't want anybody to know. I don't know why. I don't know. I still think about it. I was thinking about it today because I knew this was what we were talking about for this episode. And I was thinking about it and I was like, but why did I feel embarrassed? Like, what was the reason for that? And I think it's just because there's that stigma, even just around diabetes in general, where people are like, oh, you're eating unhealthy. Yeah. That's why you have it. Right? And I wasn't eating unhealthy.
Yeah.
I was actually eating cleaner than I usually do.
Now that you're saying this, I remember that I was thinking, oh my God, what if I have it? No, I don't want to have diabetes.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like you think about it, you're like, oh my God, diabetes, no, bad. Like,
but it's not about us. It's not about our habits. It's more of, it has more to do with the placenta passing the insulin that you need.
Yes, exactly.
If I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's exactly it. It blocks, I believe, your pancreas.
Yes,
right? Okay.
That's what I also researched in that time.
Yes. So that's
it's
exactly.
It's not about us really.
No, it's literally just because our placenta is blocking what needs to be not blocked. What needs to produce the insulin, it's blocking that. So it literally could happen to anybody. It doesn't even have to be a hereditary thing. It could just happen, just wherever your placenta is positioned or however big it is or whatever the case may be, you may or may not get it.
Yeah.
Right? And it goes away after you give birth. It goes away. So for me, like I did have to change my diet a lot.
Yes, back to you were talking about it.
Yeah, so back to the diet. I did have to change some things around mainly what times I ate. So I would have to check my blood 4 times a day for it because yes, my blood sugar was very high. So they wanted me to check when I woke up, like right as soon as I woke up, check your blood because that's my fasting.
Yeah.
And then I had to check an hour after my breakfast, an hour after my lunch, and an hour after my dinner.
That's a lot to do.
My fingers hurt
so much to process, right?
Yes, no, my fingers were just they went through it. They really did. So it was a bit of a tedious process that
like
you had to bring.
You need to do all the time.
I had to start bringing my machine to work, and then I had to prick my finger, but I didn't want anybody to know, so I'd be doing it in the bathroom, and it was just like,
God.
it was a whole, because I just didn't want people asking like questions, and that's just how I felt at the time. I'm like, I didn't know enough about gestational diabetes to be able to answer any questions that people might have had, right? So I just wanted to avoid the questions. So I was like, I'm just going to do it in the bathroom. Nobody will know. Obviously, like, my closer coworkers, like, they knew. Because then they would have to know, like, why are you going to appointments every week? Like, who are you talking to, like, all the time? Because I did have to have meetings with the dietitian.
Okay.
I think it was every week or every other week. Because I had to track down my blood sugars because they wanted to monitor it.
Did you go for the dietitian yourself, or this was something your healthcare provider told you?
So they provided me with one. So I went to my OB, so she got all of my information, and then she recommended that I talk to a diabetes dietitian.
Yeah.
And so they contacted me, and then we just went from there. And then, that was basically how I got in touch with them. And then once I had these meetings, like over the phone, had these meetings with her, just going through the numbers. She would write everything down just so that we can see, like, okay, is it getting better with all the adjustments that we've made? Is it not? What can we do? So after a couple of weeks of, making some changes to my diet, incorporating a snack at night to help with my fasting, because in the morning when I would test, it was always really high after fasting, and that just didn't make any sense to her. And so she said, you know what, have like a little bit of crackers and cheese. That'll help.
Before going to bed?
Before going to bed, because that will help with your sugars. And it did a little bit, but it still wasn't where it was supposed to be, where she would want it to be. So we ended up,
Were you doing like early dinner, I mean?
No. Like,
Not
I mean,
early dinner?
what do you mean early? Like, I would usually have dinner around like 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very healthy habit,
Oh,
I must say.
I was like, what do you
5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock is like my supper time, evening supper.
Yeah.
Dinner is like, that's good. So maybe that's why, that's a big gap, right?
Yeah.
When would you have your next meal in the morning? Like
My
the
next
first meal?
usually I would have, so I would wake up, I'd have my breakfast probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'd leave for work. And then I had my lunch usually around 12:30. And then I would get home from work around 4:15 at the time. And then, we'd have dinner around like 5:30ish.
And nothing after that?
At first, nothing after that.
But do you also go to bed early?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, so.
I would eat like 2 or 3 snacks in between. Oh my gosh.
Well, apparently you're supposed to.
But it's very healthy habit.
Yes.
If you are going to bed like early, 9 or 10.
Yeah, see, and I never used to snack, and if I did, I'd have like chips or something, which probably is not the healthiest if you have gestational diabetes.
Maybe something like, granola, low sugar or something.
So that's exactly it. She said, you know what, have like a palm full of like nuts, like cashews or almonds, something like that, or have like a couple of crackers with cheese, or have a granola bar of some sort, just something small but healthier, not like cookies or like chips or something like that. She even said like even yogurt, like Greek yogurt you could have, vanilla ice cream, like a little bit of it. So there were things that like still had sugar, but in moderation, obviously.
Yeah.
So I made a few changes and everything, but then after a few weeks of going through the numbers, just everything that I was trying to change, it just wasn't enough. I ended up having to be put on insulin.
Oh, so it didn't start with the insulin?
No,
They
it
were
didn't
trying
start
to
with the insulin.
control.
So we were trying to control it by diet
Okay.
first, diet and
Anything
exercise.
with the other lifestyle changes
Yeah,
too?
so diet and exercise. And I would go for walks after dinner. Like me and my husband always go for walks after dinner. So usually my after dinner, my numbers were always amazing. They were always really good. But my after breakfast and my after lunch, obviously I'm not walking because I was at work.
Yeah.
Right? So it started being like, okay, now I have to change when I have my breakfast. So I started having to bring my breakfast to work. And then I would plan it so that I would have my breakfast, and then my first 15-minute break of the day would be right after, so I could go for a walk. I could go for a 15-minute walk.
And those things were helping?
And they were helping, but still not enough.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I ended up having to be put on insulin. So I had to talk to an actual like diabetes doctor at this point, not just the dietitian. And she gave me, thankfully they had samples there so that I could use them, because obviously like insulin's very expensive, right? So it could have been very costly for us.
Yeah.
And financially at the time, just not the greatest thing, right? Because you're thinking of all these other things. You're buying all your stuff for your baby. You're preparing for your baby. And then it's like, oh my God, now I have to pay for this.
Yeah.
And I have to pay for the Lancets and everything.
It's a lot.
It was a lot. It became a lot. Again, thankfully they had samples there that I was able to take home with me. So I had to be put on 2 different kinds of insulin. One I had to take before I went to bed, and it was a slow moving insulin, so it would dissolve slowly throughout the night. And then I had to take another form, which was a fast acting, and I usually took that half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour before my breakfast and my lunch. Because obviously, again, my dinner was good. I was fine. But yeah, so I had to do that, and then obviously doing the walks and everything, and then the numbers were where they were supposed to be, and all was good. But it was a lot.
I can only imagine.
It was a lot.
It's too
yes.
much to process, right?
Yeah, like it was a lot, because then I had to, now not only did I have to bring my monitor, now I had to bring my insulin, and I had to keep it in the fridge. So then now it's like, okay, now more people are going to know about it. You know what I mean?
So it was affecting you emotionally.
So emotionally, I was like, I'm trying to suppress it, but it's like all these things keep like coming up. Like, oh no, now everyone's gonna know. Everyone's gonna see it.
But you know, the way you are, let me tell you all, this mom right here is a super mom, just like you all. So I'm sure you must have strengthened it in a way, like,
yes,
you know, it's fine.
Yes.
How did you?
So honestly, my honest thing is, because I was put on the insulin, I was more of a high risk pregnancy, which meant I had to go to the hospital a lot to do ultrasounds, a lot more than, let's say, a healthy pregnancy would.
Yeah.
Because I heard, I don't know, because my experience was so different, but usually you only have like 2 ultrasounds throughout your pregnancy.
Maximum 3.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I had at least like 20 in my entire pregnancy.
That's a
because
lot.
I was going every week to the hospital to go and check with the wellness, because when you have gestational diabetes, the baby will grow faster. Which is why I also had to be induced in the end, because if she had stayed longer, there were more health risks, which obviously is not, I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
but I felt like going to the hospital and having all these ultrasounds, it was like a weight lifted off of my shoulders, because I was like, okay, I can see the baby. And it was also nice because I got to see the baby more often. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, wow, Yes, this is a very not great, kind of shitty circumstance, right? But I'm able to see the baby. I say the baby because at the time we didn't know the gender. We kept it a surprise. So now obviously I'm like, oh, she, but at the time it was, oh wow, like that's the baby. Like look how much the baby has grown in a week.
And
oh
also
my gosh, look at the heartbeat.
when they're monitoring every day, like not every day, when they're monitoring every week,
like every week,
you are like much more at ease, I believe, right?
Yes.
Like, okay, at least we can see we can see how well she's doing.
Exactly.
And whatever they need to check, they are doing everything, right? The doctors.
Yeah, exactly. Like they were measuring everything. They're measuring the placenta. They're measuring her head, her abdomen, everything. And
so at least you know that.
Yes.
Even
and they're like,
though,
oh, roughly this is how many pounds she roughly is, or this is what. And it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice to be able to see her grow.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Right? Whereas a lot of moms don't have that opportunity because like you said, it's like 2-3 max.
I remember I asked my midwife, like, when should I do my next ultrasound? She said, what for? We don't need to see anything now.
Yeah.
The last one that they did, they said, yeah, everything is good. We don't recommend doing it unless we need to. And I was like, oh, I wish I could see more, right? I wanted to see more.
Yeah. So, see, which is why, so like in a way, I got lucky to be able to see her more often. And then even with having to be induced, that felt like a weight also being lifted because I knew what day she was coming.
So this is something that they need to do, like induction?
They don't necessarily need to, but there are higher risks if you don't.
If you don't spontaneously go in labor.
That's okay. Yeah. So if I went to my due date, there could have been other complications. One of them being a miscarriage or stillborn. So obviously that's very much not what I wanted, right? Yeah. So whatever was best for baby, that's what I was doing. Right? So at the end of the day, I was like, okay, if that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do. That's how it's gonna be. And honestly, it felt, at first I was like, oh, I have to be induced. Like I'm not just gonna like spontaneously go into labor. But then it was almost like, oh, I can plan so much around this now, because now I know exactly when she's gonna be coming. Yeah. Right? So I was able to have my hospital bag prepared the day before. Like I didn't have to. Did you do it a day before? Oh, I literally did it a day before. Yes, we are very last minute.
I wasn't doing it either.
We literally we waited until the 13th to actually start packing the bag, and she was born on the 15th.
That's brave of you. I mean, I wasn't doing it. I remember every day my mom was asking me, did you prepare your hospital bag? Did you do it? Did you do it? Yeah. Like he came in February, right? And it was in January. She kept on asking me, you need to do it now. It can be any time. I said, I don't think so. Your mother, you know, right? Yeah. And she said, no, you don't want to be in a situation where you are almost there and you don't have things ready. Yeah. So I remember that. But a day before, that's very brave of you.
Yeah, like 2 days before, I was like, okay, I guess we should do this now. Yeah. But again, like that was just because I knew we were being induced, so she was coming. I wasn't in a rush. Like, you know, let her cook as long as she wants to until that day, right? But I feel like it was definitely a learning experience. I learned a lot about like diets and different things like that, and just grew an appreciation for people who have to deal with that all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like people who have type 1 or 2 diabetes, like that's their life.
Routine. That's their life,
right? And it's like it gave me a different perspective on that. Yeah. And I was like, wow, like you guys are strong having to deal with that every day, because like it was a lot, even just for the 2 months that I was doing it. Right? But then I feel like I got so much knowledge out of it, which was a great thing, because I did have some other people in my life who had babies, and I'm not going to share their story, that's for them, but they also had gestational, and I was able to give them the answers that they were looking for that they couldn't find online, or that they would be misleading, right? It wouldn't be like a personal, like, no, this is what I went through. You might not go through the same thing, but this was my experience with it. take it or leave it. Take
Like right
what,
now, what we are doing, I'm sure a lot of mamas out there might be searching about gestational diabetes. I was
Yes.
doing that too.
Oh, I
I
was,
did
yeah.
not have it, but when I was going for the test, I wanted to be like informed.
Yeah.
I always want to do my own research before I ask someone,
Yes.
even my healthcare provider. I should know a little bit. So whoever is searching right now and whoever is listening to us, please listen, mamas. She's saying how people who have it, like type 1 or type 2, that's their lifestyle, that's their
Yeah.
whole life.
Yeah.
Imagine going through this for your whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, those people would be like very used to it, and they
Yes.
have a different perspective, or maybe they have a different thinking towards that. But for
Yeah.
us, for mamas, look at it, it's just temporary, and that's
Yeah.
what is the best for your baby. Like for
Yes.
your baby to be healthy, you gotta do what you gotta do. So
Yeah,
it's temporary,
exactly.
it's gonna end after your pregnancy.
Yes,
Most
yeah.
likely.
It honestly, as soon as I gave birth to her, and then they took my sugar, I think an hour or so after, or whatever it was, and yeah, my sugars were back to normal. They were completely
And
back to normal.
do they ask you to come back in some weeks or so to check it again?
Yes. So after, I believe it was 7 weeks after. I believe I'm pretty sure 7 or 8 weeks after birth, you have to go and do a 3-hour test, and that one's a lot more
The same
intense.
one 3 times?
Yes. So basically, you go, they take your blood, you wait an hour,
Then you
they
take the
take your blood
drink.
again, you take the drink, they take your blood again, you wait another hour, they take your blood again, and then you can go.
And then that time I was fine.
Yeah, everything was fine. The numbers were completely normal. Everything was good. Yeah.
What
And
a
then
relief, right?
yeah, it was. And I remember being in the Life Labs with Elizabeth in her stroller, and we were just hanging out there for 2-3 hours, just watching people come in and go, and it was fun. It was fun.
How about the birth and labor experience? I mean, did it affect the birthing experience too?
No, not really. Not really. For me anyway, everything was pretty smooth sailing. They just had
we'll
to.
talk about, like, you were saying how you got induced, right?
Yes.
So after getting the induction done, was the process slow, or anything that affected due to the gestational diabetes, if you can recall?
I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't notice any difference compared to other friends of mine who had it. Obviously, they had very different situations and birthing experiences, but we were all pretty much the same thing. Like, even from my sister, like, trying to compare to her birthing experience, because she didn't have gestational, they were very similar, because she was induced because she had twins.
Yeah.
So she ended up having to be induced, and she said, like, we had basically the same experience. So I don't think the gestational diabetes affected the labor and delivery so much. The only thing that was obviously different is they were checking my sugar
Yeah.
throughout the day, like after my meals and stuff, just to make sure. And then after I had given birth, they checked my sugar, but they also checked Elizabeth's sugar to make
Okay.
sure that she was also okay, because it could pass on and she could end up getting like regular diabetes. So they just
Okay.
wanted to make sure. It's a very slim chance of happening, but it could
could.
potentially happen. So they did check her blood just to be sure, but all was good, and everything else was pretty smooth. There wasn't really much of a hindrance in anything because of the gestational diabetes, which is good.
Yeah.
But again, that's my experience, so I don't know if someone else might have a different experience. But for the most part, it was pretty much just a natural.
Yeah, but like you were mentioning about how the doctors are concerned about the baby growing too much or growing fast, right?
Yes.
So did your healthcare provider have any conversation with you around your labor and delivery? Like, did they tell you if there were any chances of you going in a C-section or
Yes.
having a vaginal delivery?
Yeah, so they did say that. So for my experience, Elizabeth, her abdomen was growing a lot faster. So it wasn't necessarily her head, so they weren't too concerned. But they did say because of being induced that there was a higher chance of potentially having to go have a C-section, only because the baby wouldn't be ready to be coming out yet.
Yeah.
So that was their only thing. But thankfully for me, I didn't have to go through a C-section, and I was able to deliver her vaginally. But again, I have other people who have a very different story.
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
Yeah, so again, like it all just depends on
But
your
you know,
body.
the reason that I particularly wanted to ask you this question is that I read a lot about this on the internet, and how everybody was talking about you ending up having a C-section was like a very higher chance when somebody is diagnosed with
Yes.
gestational diabetes. So
Yeah.
I want to mention this here that anybody who gets diagnosed with gestational diabetes should not be scared that, okay, that's the end of it and I have to go through a C-section.
Yes.
It's
No,
not
it's not the
really
end of it.
necessary that you
No.
have to.
No,
Because
you definitely don't.
it's like so normalized, like the doctors even mentioning, I've noticed that yeah, that's how it has to be, because the baby will be so big, you cannot push the baby
Yeah.
out, but it's not necessary.
No.
Right? I'm so glad that
No.
it's not the case with you, so
No.
that's really good.
Yeah, like for me, they were measuring her at almost 9 pounds. She came out at 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So they were off by like a whole pound and a bit.
Yeah.
So the scans, yes, you're going for them every week, and yes, technology is advanced, but it's still not 100% accurate. You still don't know 100% if that's exactly the measurements, right?
Yeah.
Unless like you're going in there and like feeling around, there's really not much. Like it's never 100% accurate. It's about 98%.
I remember I did like two, like one today and one the next day, because for me also I went past my due date.
Yes.
So he came, he was too comfortable.
Yeah.
And he
wanted to
came
keep
like,
cooking.
he wanted to keep cooking like,
Yeah.
and then it was 41 weeks and one day he finally made the
Decided.
grand entrance.
Grand
So
entrance.
I did it like every 3 days regularly, I remember. They say like when you go past 40 weeks, we have to see like every day.
Yes,
Just to
yeah.
make sure about the, fluid and everything.
Yes.
So I remember that, and like when I did it, for example, today, it was different, and the next day the weight was different.
Yeah.
So it cannot change drastically within 24 hours.
No.
So you can never know. It's not
Exactly. exactly
what they tell you.
Exactly.
In
So
the
yeah,
sonography.
So exactly, because that's why they were saying, oh, or obviously they didn't say she because we didn't know, but they're like, oh, baby's measuring at 9 pounds and change. So, and that it was like 4 weeks, like a month before my induction day. So I was like, oh my gosh. 9 pounds now.
A month before, yeah.
What's she gonna be? Like, what's the baby gonna be in 4 weeks from now? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So so then I started getting worried, like, oh, like maybe I will have to have a C-section.
Yeah.
So then you start thinking that, and I think that's why it's so common for people to end up having a C-section for gestational, because the numbers aren't accurate, and then they
Yeah.
just put it in their head, like, you know what,
They already
let's just
prepared
opt into
themselves.
it. Yeah, exactly. And for me, I was like, no. I'm like, I don't think the baby's that big. I don't think so. I don't think it's that accurate. And I was right. In the end, I was right,
were
because the
right,
baby she was not almost 10 pounds when she came out. And again, yeah, like you said, it's so different from one day to the next. It's one
Yeah.
measurement, then the next measurement. And that's what was happening. Like every week I was going, they were like, oh, the baby's 9 something. And then the next week, like, oh, baby's measuring at 8 something. And I'm like, but you just said 9 something. She lost weight? Like the baby lost weight while being in there? What? How did that
Yeah.
work out? So yeah, like I said, it's not 100%. You never know what's going to happen until baby comes out. One way or
True.
another, baby is going to come out happy, healthy, crying, all of it. However baby comes out, right? So definitely don't be scared about, if they're telling you all of the stuff. Yes, it can be very scary. But it's not as scary as they make it seem. Because I remember being in the doctor's office, and she was telling me all of this, and I remember being like, oh my gosh. Like, especially when they start using the terminology like stillborn or miscarriage, and I'm just like, I can't even
That's
imagine
very scary.
like that. Like, and I know a few people who have gone through that, and I'm like, my heart breaks for them. So then I'm thinking about it.
My
I'm
heart
like, oh
breaks
my
for
gosh.
any acquaintance or any so and
Yes.
so person I hear
Yes.
had like a.
Oh yeah. I
It's
couldn't
so
even
painful.
imagine.
Yeah.
That must be the most painful thing. So I was sitting there, and they're just saying all of this, and then they're so neutral about it when they're
They are so
saying it, and I'm like,
neutral.
what? I'm like, oh my God, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, induce me, do what I'll take the risk if I have to. Like if the baby comes out vaginally, C-section, flies out, I don't know, do anything. Like I want the baby to be healthy and happy and just here.
That's the
That's
most
it.
important thing.
As long as baby is healthy coming out, that's all that matters. As long as me and baby are good, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? So definitely don't be scared about it. It can be a lot. It's a lot of routine changes, different things you have to do, carry around with you at all times. Like for me, I had to carry the monitor, the insulin, the everything. But just don't be ashamed of it. Just own it.
And you know what? I'm just wondering, like, look at it this way. It is something which is still in our control.
Yeah.
It's nothing that we cannot control and it will happen the way
Yeah.
it has to happen. You can do the diet changes, your
Yeah.
routine changes,
Yeah.
all the lifestyle changes, and what maximum you need to carry your the equipment with
Yeah.
you. What's gonna happen? It's just little bit extra stuff that we
Yeah.
have to do, but for me personally, I believe like if there is something which is in my control, it's totally, if something that I cannot do anything about
Yeah.
it, that's more scary, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do anything. I just have this thing. I can't do anything about it. This is something, first of all, temporary.
Very,
It is
yes.
just for the time period that we are pregnant.
Yes.
And then it goes.
Yeah.
And then as long as you are able to manage and control everything around you with just your lifestyle changes and
Yeah.
your diet changes, I mean, I totally hear you. I know it's a lot to process.
Yeah.
But then it's in our control.
Yeah.
We can work
exactly.
around everything.
Yeah, yeah. It's honestly, it's just for that time being, and yeah, it seems like a lot when you're doing it because it is a lot. Like there, you have to remember. Oh, did I take it properly? Did I take my insulin properly? Did I, And there were times where I would take it wrong, and I would wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats because I was having like my blood sugar was way too low, right? So it's like it's so many things like that that you have to be very cautious about, and between being pregnant and still going to work and just having a life plus this plus that, like it could be a lot. It is a lot, but again, like you said, it's just for the period of time. At the end of the day, you're doing it so that your baby is healthy, that you're healthy.
Yeah.
Because if you don't manage it, it could lead into regular full-blown diabetes as well, right? And that will change all sorts of things for you. And I just feel like for me, when I think about it, it's like, you know what? I gained so much knowledge from having it. And I was able to pass on my knowledge to other moms that were going through it, and being able to encourage them, like, no, you don't worry, everything's good, you got this.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot now, but it's worth it in the end. All the pricking of your fingers, the sugary drink, all of it is just, it's very worth it in the end. And it's, and yeah.
I think you don't remember anything when you have the baby in your hands.
Oh yeah, all of that
When the
goes right
first
out the
time
window.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it all goes out the window as soon as you give birth, and then it's like, and then they come to ask you like, oh, we gotta check your sugar, and I'm just like, what? Why? Like, what do you mean? It's like I completely forgot I had gestational diabetes for like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's like I just gone, forgot about it.
Is there anything that you can think of, like you think of now that, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I had known about this before. Maybe you heard from someone.
I don't know if I would do anything different. I mean, I feel like I should have changed my routine a little bit more at the beginning, like especially doing the walking and all that after my lunch and my breakfast, because I didn't at the beginning, because I was like, no, I got this. I'll just change a little bit of my food. It's fine. But it wasn't. I needed to go for those walks after my meal. I needed to. And I feel like getting to the point of you have to be on insulin now was really like the kick in the butt that I needed. But now looking at it, I'm like, okay, I definitely should have like I should have done that before. Like I should have changed these things before, so it didn't get as bad as it did. But now I know for next time, if there's a next time, that I'm gonna start checking my sugar ahead of time, because I was also recommended by the doctor, after when I had to go back after giving birth, the postpartum check. The doctor had contacted me and was like, oh, do you plan on having another baby? And I was like, yes, but not anytime soon.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just gave birth, like, not yet.
Yeah.
But she goes, okay, no problem. Just letting you know, like I usually tell my patients that if you do plan on having another one after you've already had gestational the first time around, to start monitoring your blood sugar from the beginning.
Okay.
So start checking from the beginning. As soon as you find out that you're pregnant, start monitoring it. Not as serious as 4 times a day like I was.
Yeah.
But just once a day. Just take a look, check it out. Excuse me. Even after your lunch, or whenever it was the highest. So for me, yeah, it usually was after when I would wake up, or after my lunch was usually the highest. And so that's when I would check. I would check when I would wake up, and then at lunch, that for future reference for myself,
yeah.
right? So at least now I know I'm prepared for what I wasn't prepared for before. And like I said, it just gave me a lot of insight on the whole thing, and just being able to be like, okay, so now I know what to do for next time, or now I know what to recommend to my mom friends, like, hey, do this. Don't be like me and do what you're told.
Yeah.
Listen.
But even before getting pregnant, what was your routine like? Were you exercising before that too? I mean, I'm just wondering, like, if that would make a difference if we are already
doing
having a routine and already trying to stay fit.
I mean, it could. I haven't heard. I don't know anyone's story that, like, if they were a fitness person before and then ended up still getting gestational. I don't know.
I have heard about that.
Oh, you have? Oh,
so then
see,
I'm also
yeah.
thinking, like, even a fit person could get it, right?
Yeah.
But then since you had it in your first pregnancy, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe in the second one, you would, before you plan, you would try to,
Yeah.
incorporate these things in your routine already.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly it. Like, I would already start doing that. And I know a lot of people who had gestational for one pregnancy and didn't for the other.
Okay.
Like, whether it be they had it for the first one but didn't have it for the second, or they didn't have it for the first but they got it for the second. So it's very, again, like our main thing we always say is every pregnancy is different, even if it's your own pregnancy.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it's your second, third, fourth pregnancy, and every single one is completely different than the other.
Yeah.
Right? So, like I said, who knows if I'm going to get gestational diabetes if I have another kid down the line, right?
Yeah.
We don't know, but at least now I'm prepared for it.
Prepared, yeah.
I know what to expect. I know what to do ahead of time. And yeah, but at the end of the day, again, even if I do get it, I know what to expect.
Yeah, it's
I
not
won't
going to
be, I won't
very
be as scared about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It won't be a shock to me. I'll know the system. I'll know what to do.
And most of all, you don't have to feel ashamed about it. I'm sure you're not going to be.
Yes,
I'm sure
absolutely. That is, yeah. When I look back, I'm like, I'm so silly. Why was I even ashamed of it? But I mean, it's just that the stigma around it, just diabetes in general, which it sucks because it shouldn't be stigmatized at all. But I feel like that played a huge role in it. That, like, I didn't want anybody to know, right? So, but now I know. And now everyone knows.
I think also
But
we don't have to blame ourselves. Maybe
no.
it could be because of the hormones acting up too.
Yeah,
That you
absolutely.
feel bad about literally anything, right?
Yeah, I think
mean,
that's it. I think honestly, just the mix of everything just didn't help.
yeah.
But like I said, I am very grateful. I'm honestly grateful for it. I'm thankful that I went through that experience. So at least now I know that's something that I can help other people who are going through that, right? And I can put my input or help in any way I can. Yeah.
That's the purpose. That's the whole purpose,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. So yeah, and just like even just diabetes in general, just learning so much
Yeah.
and finding out that there's like different kind of carbs and there's different foods that I didn't realize were very high in sugar and some things that I thought were high in sugar that actually aren't high in sugar. Like it was such a learning experience
Yeah.
altogether, not even just about like having a baby and like it was just there was just so much knowledge in that one journey, that one
Yeah.
little bit of my journey that I'm like so grateful for now, because now I look at food and I'm like, oh, that has good carbs and that has bad carbs.
And that's how you're gonna feed the baby too. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
it's
good.
like this is
That's
good for
not.
you. Like obviously, yeah, she can have her cookies, she can have
Yeah.
her whatever, but obviously now I know like okay, not too much, not too much. Let's not go crazy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good experience. In my opinion, it was a good experience. It definitely changed my brain chemistry a lot and made me appreciate what I have, you know. So it was good.
So,
I think it was good.
mamas, there's nothing to be worried about.
Yes.
I mean, you definitely have to talk to your healthcare provider about it. And I always feel that if you're talking to your doctor, your midwife, or whoever it is, it's better to talk to them instead of going on Google and just
Yeah.
asking, because this is something that you should not just rely on the internet for. And I always like to wrap up my conversations about with the positive take that we have here. Please don't be worried, don't be ashamed of it, and look at it this way: it is something you can control. You have full control, I would say. You just have to do some changes in your routine, your lifestyle, your food, and whatever you need to do, you need to do. It's for your baby. End of the day, what matters the most is a healthy baby
Yes.
and a healthy mama.
Yes.
That's all we need.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
So, this is all that we had to talk about today, and we'll be back again, hopefully, with
You're not getting rid of me
many
yet.
other. Oh no, I don't want to.
I'll be back.
We'll be back with another topic, and see you soon.